Hello, Gender Dysphoria Memes Discord. I am Mirda Chandesu, and I'm going to run through a couple of things that I use to help me get started with voice training. I'm not an expert, and my methods may not even be the best, but these are some things that made sense to me and helps me get to a place where I'm comfortable speaking socially. I'll be looking away a lot over here because I wrote some things down. I tend to a lot when I talk, and I don't want to end up repeating myself, and I want to make sure that I cover everything that I want to cover. So the first thing that I want to talk about is tone versus pitch. This may not be a super accurate definition, but to me, tone is the way your voice sounds, while pitch merely shifts that tone up and down. When approaching voice training, it's important, in my opinion, to approach the tone first. Without the tone, pitch doesn't mean anything. There are plenty of cis females who have very deep voices, and yet they still sound feminine. Do not fall into the falsetto trap. Falsetto doesn't make you sound like a girl. It makes you sound like Mickey Mouse. Save it for singing and squealing when you see small animals. That was gay. From what I understand, the male voice resonates at two frequencies simultaneously, above the Adam's apple and below it. This causes not only a wider, I don't know why I clapped there. This not only causes a wider dynamic range, but also a bit of roughness and a tonality that we don't want. We want our voice to resonate below the Adam's apple only. And to do that, we'll first need to figure out how to get the Adam's apple out of the way. Touch your hand to your throat. Touch your hand to your throat and swallow. You feel that moving up and down? That's your Adam's apple. As if you didn't know where it was before. Anyway, I just want you to feel what it feels like when you swallow, because I want to emulate that. We're trying to get that sort of up and down on command. We want it to stay up. So grab your throat like this, very gently, don't choke yourself. Swallow. Your Adam's apple should get trapped above your hand. For the purpose of this demonstration being as accurate as possible, I'm going to speak with my natural born voice
to show you what it should sound like. Here's my voice that I was born with. It cracks a lot because I'm not used to using it. It's really weird. It's almost kind of hard to use this voice. Anyway, it's a little less harsh and there's less bass, and it sounds overall just like a little bit gay, but also a little bit more feminine. And that was without doing anything. Anyway, we want to be able to do this on command. You'll never be able to lift it as high on command as you do when you swallow, but you can nudge it up a fair bit. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of good advice because I can't make you feel the muscles that you need to feel. That's something you're going to have to figure out on your own. For right now, you're going to need to be swallowing a lot, if you didn't already. You'll need to be really conscious of what muscles you're using while you're swallowing and figure out how to use that manually. Once you have that figured out, it's time to use it a lot. What do I mean by that? Listen to yourself. Listen to cis female whose voice you like and compare it. See what's different other than the pitch. Emulate it. Build your tone with complete deafness to the pitch and focus on how you sound. Again, I don't have any great advice here, so it's up to you to practice like fucking crazy. Once you feel confident with that, you can start pushing the pitch in. I'm bad at reading, and I wrote this. Pitch is a lot less complicated, and really the only advice that I have that's not just completely is try not to set your default speaking voice as high as absolutely possible. Females tend to, but not always, but usually, fluctuate their pitch as they speak more often than men do. So what you'll want is a safety net on either side to make sure you don't become really monotone or get caught trying to emphasize something when you're already at your limit. Sure, I could talk like this all day, every day, and it would be really nice and high pitch, but I would be really annoying to listen to, and I couldn't ever really inject any emotion or emphasis on what I was saying. Once you've managed to combine the tone and the pitch, it's time to practice as much as possible. Any moment you have by yourself where no one can hear you,
preferably for myself. Practice. If you have a friend who's supportive or is going through this with you, practice with them. Even if you're by yourself, you need to practice having natural conversations. Don't just read a book or the same sentence over and over. Great. You can now recite an entire page of Harry Potter sounding really feminine. Now, what about ordering food at a restaurant? Like, you know, unless you're going to be ordering butterbeer or something like, I don't know. Speaking of ordering at a restaurant, also, volume is going to be your arch nemesis for a while. Volume is where my voice always used to fall apart, and it was humiliating. The only advice that I have here is to use your nose. It might not be super graceful sounding, but putting a little nose into it will help a lot. As you may have been able to tell throughout this video, because I do it. Before I end this, look up voice warm-ups. I would give you some, but this is already 7 minutes long. At least before editing, if I do decide to edit this. And I don't want to go into that, but there's tons on YouTube. Look up good warm-up for your voice. If you hurt your voice, it's gonna get hoarse, and it's gonna fucking suck. It's really hard to sound good when you're hoarse. Even after you feel like you've mastered this shit, warm up before every practice, just to be safe. Every morning, I have a 30-minute drive to work. So I do my warm-up exercises. That is the rule. I feel confident with my voice now, and I've been doing it for a while, but still, I do my warm-up exercises. I did one before I started this video. I did one this morning. It's important. It makes a huge difference in the sound as well, and it makes it a lot more comfortable to do. I've gone on long enough, as I've said before, so I'm going to end this here. I hope I managed to help one or two of you at least, and if so, that's rad. That's so cool. I'm glad that I was able to help, and if not, then I'm sorry, and I hope that you're able to find something that works for you. Voice training sucks. It really sucks. Especially when you're doing it around people who, this is off script, I didn't think to add this, especially when you're doing it around people who you already knew pre-transition. They might make fun of you, and it fucking sucks. But, fuck them. They're not going through any shit like this. They are weak-ass bitches who are just fine with the voice that they have, and they don't have to do any work, and they're lazy, and I don't know, that's the way I think of it. I don't know if it's healthy to think that way, but it helped me be more confident using my new voice around people that I knew. I don't really have friends, so my coworkers. You also want to work on coughing, sneezing, and laughing, and like sometimes yawning, depending on how you yawn. Those little things can be super important to keeping up. I don't want to call it a facade. This is not a facade, but it's definitely not the voice that you were given when you were born. So you want to manage to keep, if you want to keep that up, you gotta work on those things because they can destroy you, your self-confidence when you're out in public or something and you find yourself having to cough or sneeze or something. That's it. I think that's all that I had to say. So, goodbye.